That's right, YouTube. That's greatness. That's CJ. and this is the deck profile from Team Plays for Days.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Featuring
Best world.
Golems.
Golems. Let's get it.
CJ, hit him with it.
All right, so check it out. Check it out. We got the best world there is. We all know it. We all love it. It's Danger World. The buddy is definitely going to be Iron Legs Kasu Golem, which we always call him the chicken because he is a chicken. The buddy's a 5/2/2. Stats are relevant. When he enters the field, you pay a gauge, and then you can search your deck for an item, and you put the item in your hand. So you literally just take this guy on the board, and you get whatever item you, which we only play one item, so we'll go over that.
Seems pretty good.
It is. It's really.
Why isn't it foil?
So we're starting that. Is that what we're doing? Okay, that's fine. Oh, and then his other effect, while I'm thinking about it, after he attacks, you pop him unless you pay a gauge, which that's what pretty much all these golems do. Size heroes. We're playing 2 copies of First Aid Golem. This guy, he comes in handy. He was really useful during the tournament. When one of your Duel Golems is destroyed by a card effect, you gain a life, and then if it was destroyed by your opponent's card effect, then you draw a card. So your monsters pop off on their own, so you're going to gain life with him on the board. And then there's been multiple times where for some reason my opponent decided to pop one of my monsters, so I got to draw a card and get the life. So he just comes in handy for that. He didn't come in as much handy as he probably could have, but it is what it is. I enjoyed the card.
He's so cute.
He is. Size 1s, we're going to play 2 copies of the Delusion Butterfly Golem. He has the counter speed ability. He's one of the guys that starts off your combos. When one of your golems is destroyed, then you can call this guy from your hand. And it's just destroyed during the turn. So like even if your opponent destroyed something before battle or anything like that, you call this guy. And then he's a 4/3/1. So this is the important thing is the crit numbers, of course, in this
There's
deck.
so much going on in the art of this card.
Yeah, kind of. Delusion Golem's probably the ugliest golem out of all of them. But he does good stuff. So yeah, and then he'll pop himself after he attacks. So that's that guy.
Like from a distance, it was almost impossible to tell what the hell it was. He kept saying a butterfly, and I was like, butterflies are beautiful. That thing's ugly.
So then we got the Vulture Steelbeak Volgolem. He calls himself from drop when one of your monsters is destroyed, but his activates immediately. And then, what is
You got something to add over here,
right, he's cracking up over here. Of course, so like I said, he calls himself from drop zone, and then after he attacks, you pay a gauge, and if you don't, then he pops himself. So he's a 6/2/1. What is this?
Cat, what do you get?
4 copies of the buddy. Oh, I know
any of them
he's
foil?
laughing at. He's laughing at my damn misplay. It is what it is, though. I could have been in the top 3 if I would have called the damn Vulture, but it is what it is.
It is what it is.
Okay.
So yeah, 4 copies of the buddy. We already talked about him. He searches your item.
How's none of them foil? You can't
Look,
get one common foil?
Get off my.
Hey, $200
bro. 4 copies of Spiky Golem. This guy.
5 crits.
This guy right here. 5 critical. You pay 2 gauge to keep him alive, but you never do that. This guy, he's just nuts. He literally is your OTK by himself. Like, you go this guy and you attack. If you give him a crit, or just let him pop himself and then activate your item to deal a damage, or your set spell to deal a damage, that's 6 damage plus you impact. That's game right there. This guy's just busted.
That card is actually beautiful looking.
Yeah, I love Spiky Golem. This is my favorite golem.
I wish he was foil.
Alright, so size 2s. This is like one of the best golems there is. This is Last Droid Domando. He's a 7/4/1 with Penetrate, Move, and Soul Guard. He stops your monsters from being rested. So when your opponent's going to be like, oh yeah, I want to rest your Penetrate monsters. No, you're going to not do that. His Overkill ability, you pay a gauge during your main phase. And then each time one of your Duel Golems attacks, you destroy a card on the field and deal a damage. So even if, like for example, in the Gear God matchup, you can target Gear God if it's the only thing on the board, and they still take the damage, even if it can be destroyed. So it just helps for the ping. Like, this card's just amazing. This is actually like my game ender for Ball Soleil and Gear God. Like, besides playing against Khalil, that was the only time where he wasn't as powerful. But other than that, just he's really good in all of those matchups. So
I hate how the gold goes into the gold.
I know, right? But it is what it is. It's Bushy Road. 3 copies of the Big Chicken.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Oh yeah, Doja Golem. This is the guy that everybody was scared of. He brought fear into everybody as soon as you see this guy.
I'm afraid of birds.
He gives everything on your field penetrate. And then he's a 10-4-6. And his overkill, you pay a gauge during the main phase. And then he gives himself 4 critical. And then when he attacks alone, his attack cannot be nullified. So that's 8 damage first turn, or just 8 damage in general with penetrate. Like, this card's nuts. And he has moves, so you can use them to shield yourself after he attacks if your opponent somehow survives 10, 12, 13 crit.
Fuck that chicken.
Yeah, that is what a lot of people say for some reason. Everybody says, fuck this chicken. I don't care. This chicken kicks ass.
Charles likes chickens, Captain.
Y'all are so stupid. And then 3 copies of the original Golem himself.
This is
Jaw
easily
Golem.
the prettiest card of the deck.
He is pretty.
Just because he's so simple, and I love it.
So he's your big overkill guy. First off, he gives all dual golems on your field plus a crit. And then his overkill, you pay a gauge, which every dual golem's overkills pay a gauge. And start of the main phase. And then all your cards get plus 2 critical. So you can, since he's a chaos card, they play this in chaos and get everything plus 2 crit. Who cares? In golems, everything is plus 3 critical. So by himself, he's 6 crit. He's impact by himself. Like, he's nuts. And of course he has moves, so he can protect you afterwards if they somehow are able to protect themselves. But yeah, so that's that.
And you still didn't win.
It is what it is. So that was it for the monsters. Items. We play 4 copies of the Sandstorm Katana Palm. Or Katana Palm. I don't know how you pronounce that. So this
Katana!
Katana. You can equip this for free if you have a dual golem monster on the field. If not, you have to pay 3 gauge. So you never pay 3 gauge because you always have the chicken on board. And whenever one of your dual golems gets popped once per turn, or during your turn, I should say, you deal a damage to your opponent and then you get a gauge. So this just helps you for the burn damage. Just helps increase your chances of, decreasing your opponent's life just so you can hit them with impact or just end the game in general. So that's all the items that we even need. There's the draw item and the gain life item. It's right now in the meta, there's no reason to try and go above your opponent. Like if you OTK, it's gain. Like there's not a lot of life gain yet. So with this new meta, I'm probably expecting some more. Impacts, 4 copies of the fantastic Rock Crushing Style High Blood Quake. So as long as you have a dual golem on your field, item, monster, set spell, it doesn't matter. You can activate this card. You pay 2 gauge, you deal 2 to your opponent, and then if you pay another gauge, you deal another 2 damage. So it's basically 4 damage for 3 gauge. And then they are different timings. So you activate it, you deal 2 damage, and then if your opponent responds with like Black Dragon Shield or something like that, you pay the gauge, they take another 2 damage. So they're still going to take 2 either way with that. So really good card.
Still not a foil common.
There was actually a foil in there. There was 2 foils. So fuck
Was
you,
there?
Opie. Yeah.
They all look the same to me.
I can't. These 2 were the foils. So in your face,
Best world, cheap world.
I have full foil armor knights.
It literally looks no different.
Anyways, all right. So that's it on impact. So we're going to go into the spells. We're going to play 2 copies of
I hate
Burst.
this card.
Burst DD Calling Ritual. You pay a gauge and a life. You draw a card, and if you have a weapon equipped, you draw another card. So since you always have your item equipped, you're going to draw 2 cards. This card is helping you basically just play solitaire. Like you just search out everything that you need so you can combo, or not combo, just OTK your opponent immediately. I actually cited this out a lot. Like the deck draws so much, searches so much, it's almost like no need for it.
So you probably ended up taking it out, or
No, I want to take it out. Like it's just good to have for the draw power. I'm not saying I didn't use it. It just if I sided something out, it was these 2 immediately because I have other draw cards. So yeah, there's 2 copies of that. 2 copies of Where the Souls Fuse. With this card, you have to have a dual golem on the field, and then you gauge 1, and then you can search your drop zone for a dual golem monster or item and add it to your hand. So again, anything that's already been dropped, I can add it back to my hand. Search out any kind of combo pieces. A lot of times, if I like blew up my item or something, or if my opponent blew up my item, I would just get it back to my hand or search out like a butterfly golem. I would do any of that just to have those cards in my hand and ready to use. So 2 copies of that. I thought about bumping it up to 3, but 2 works perfectly fine. You don't really need it too much since literally, if you don't, literally winning like turn 1 or 2 was most of the time that was happening. Like I had a few games where yes, it did last longer than that, but this, you don't need to see this like that. 2 copies of Ground Alpha. You with this spell, you have to have a Duel Golem on the field again, but you get to draw a card, and then for each Duel Golem monster on the field, you get a gauge. So it could be a possibility of 3 gauge, 2 gauge, 1 gauge, whichever. The main thing is another draw power, and just kind of gives you the gauge itself, so you can activate your impacts and overkills and everything like that. Good card. Here's the powerful draw card right here. This is why you play the 5 crit golem and draw golem and everything else. Immense pressure. If you have is it a dual golem or no? This is any card. Yeah, if you have a card with 4 critical on the field, you draw 2 cards. So
I feel like that's super situational. Oh, you're buffing your guys. That's right.
Yeah, draw golem buffs everything, or most of the time you have Domando on the field, or this guy.
So it doesn't count if it's just like it naturally has the 5.
No, as long as it has 4 crit. So since he's going to give everything 4 crit anyways, or 1 crit anyways, I immediately get the draw 2. So yes. So this card it's not a situational thing. Like it's going to happen. Like every time I've activated this card, it's always happened.
I would always just put this to 4 and drop the other one.
Yeah. Almost.
Yeah. Like I mean,
the only thing is
shit. No wonder you always took it out.
But it would give me 2 spells to draw if I needed to. But yeah,
I mean, fair enough. I mean, yeah.
Then this card right here. This is Giant Cadaver Catapult. This card, first off, it stops your opponent from nullifying your ability, so all your abilities can be nullified. And then when a Duel Golem on your field gets popped during your turn, you deal the damage to your opponent. You can set more than 1 of these on the board. I almost wanted to play this before, but it's just too cloggy. But 3 copies of this, like there was games where I had 2 of these on board, a Katana Palm and a Spiky Golem, and that was game by itself. Like,
is it free to play?
Yes, it's free. Like the card's amazing. I love it. Like literally when Bushiroad made this deck, they was just like, hey, how can you OTK? How can you deal damage? Like, just do whatever you want.
And each individual one can activate?
Yes, so it's 3 damage if you have all 3 on board. In playtesting, I've had all 3 of these on board once, but during the original, most of the time I just had like 2 on board, which...
Was it just you didn't feel like going for it, or...?
No, I never had all 3 at once, yeah. This next card is a very important combo piece. 4 copies of Emergency Fuel Supply. This card is the nuts. Counter speed, destroy one of your Duel Golem monsters or your item on the field, you get 3 gauge. If the card that you destroyed had 4 crit, you gain 2 life. Just amazing. Like first off, you get 3 gauge, so you're automatically setting off your impact. Or you can use it to replenish your, if you call like Domando or your Dojo Golem, because you pay 3 gauge to even activate their overkill and call them. So just activating this card, pop them once, their soul guard goes off, so they're still on board. You get 3 gauge, you replenish everything, or you can just go for impact, whatever. This just gives you everything that you need, and then the extra life. This card saves me so much. It's ridiculous. I love it. And then the last 4 cards of the deck, which most people don't play in Golems, and I just don't understand why. We play 4 shields. For some reason, everybody wants to make their deck a complete glass cannon. At least with this, I can guard. If you have a Duel Golem on the field, when your opponent attacks, you nullify the attack and get a gauge. Gauge a cell, so the card's good. These are 2 foils, Opie.
I wasn't. I have stopped asking about the damn foils for a while. I was just letting you do it and asking questions that I needed to know.
So yeah, you play 4 copies of this. It's a shield. Like once my Domando or my Dojo Golem went to the center, my opponent like try and destroy it. I nullify the attack. That's 3 attacks that they have to even get close to hitting me with. And if they don't kill me, I'm killing them next turn. So it only makes sense to play shields in this deck. And I understand like Japan's meta and stuff like that. They don't play shields, but
they're like best of 1 though, right?
Yeah, it's best of 1. So I understand you play complete glass cannon. Yeah. But in this, that didn't make any sense to me.
Charge!
So yeah, that's the main deck. Just so many different plays. You got your Dojo Golem or your Draw Golem, sorry, your Spiky Golem, and then you play this guy in the center. You play your item. Like just initial field setup. This guy can be in drop zone, and this guy can be in your hand. This guy's in drop zone, and then you can have this guy on the board. Like just plays like this are just ridiculous because everything got +1 here, and then you can activate his overkill, so everything on your board gets +2. So you're looking at 6. Him by himself, he's at 8. Him by himself, he's at 3. This by itself is at 5. So all of that just swings. I'm not even going to count that because it's over 10. He's going to pop himself. You're going to get a life. You can then go into... you would go into this guy first. Just go into this guy. He calls himself from drop. He has +2, that's 5 critical by himself. He popped himself. go into the big birdie, and then he's gonna have 6 critical, and then he attacks. So like it's literally just damage, and then you just impact for game if they really survive that 20+ crit turn. Like the deck's just nuts. It's nuts. I don't know what Bushiroad was thinking, and I appreciate them for putting it in Danger World. So yeah, that's the main board. As far as sideboard, it's just mainly a lot of tech stuff. I put in one more copy of Domando just because of my Ball Soleil and my Chaos matchup. I need to see this guy more often. So like anytime I was fighting against Chaos, which was how many times I played Chaos in Switch? I played Chaos like 3 times in Swiss, and then Ball Soleil, I don't know how many times I played it, like what, 2 or 3 times I believe. So yeah, he just helps you in that matchup because even when like you link attack, his effect activates twice for both cards. So I would like pop Ball Soleil twice in one of my matchups that I had, and pop Ball Soleil twice and then swing into Ball Soleil and kill it. So it's already gone. And then you swing with this guy, pop something else, and then that's 4 damage plus the extra damage. So you're actually going to be able to deal damage even though Ball Soleil reduces the damage. So yeah, he's just important to play next to him. This was something I was expecting to see something else for, but Around the World, Athora SD. I played 2 copies of this guy. I actually never used him during the tournament. I sided him in, I just never saw him. But when he enters the field, you choose one of your opponent's monsters, you pay a gauge and discard a card from your hand, and then you can remove all of its soul. So I actually expected to fight like Ball Soleil or Thora or whatever, so I was just like, hey, just play this and remove all their soul. So, really good card. Size 0, so it doesn't really affect your board any. But yeah, I still like it. Mad I didn't get to use it, but it is what it is. 2 copies of Skillbinder. Really good meta call card. You pay a gauge and you rest a card with double attack or penetrate. Damn near everything has double attack and penetrate right now. So yeah, it definitely comes in handy. I think I might have used it once or so during the tournament, but it's when you're playing an OTK deck, like it's kind of like you don't need to see any of your cards afterwards. 2 copies of the Voracious Wolf Golem. Play this guy for the Chaos matchup. He's a 6/2/2. When he attacks, he destroys a monster on your opponent's field, and then he pops himself after battle if you don't pay a gauge. Mainly just to help accelerate damage to your opponent. Pretty good card. Didn't ever use it though, unfortunately. Alright, and the last card in the sideboard, the most important card. The card that saved my ass so many times.
Is it Minjo?
No. 10 times better. We have 3 copies of Loyalty in the side. I literally sided this in every single game, except for like 1 round in Swiss. I didn't side this in. This saved me against the Thunder Empire matchup. My opponent went into Maziria. No, he tried to like replenish his hand or something, and he didn't really have a lot. So he played Maziria to reset the board. This was the only thing in my hand, and I was just like, okay, Loyalty. So now they can't call any more than 3 monsters. Since they called Maziria, their turn was done. And that was it. So they had to pass turn, and then I went in for the OTK. Like, this card's nuts. When your opponent plays Gear Guide, you can stop them from playing so many monsters. That's literally the only reason I was ever using this card. Reducing damage, I used it 1 time for that, just because I had 2 in my hand. And then the Remove a Soul, I think I used that 1 time against Ball Soleil. So, but other than that, this card is just, this is the most powerful card in the game right now. I don't care what anybody says. Like, it's crazy. And it's only going to get better. This is going to be like a main board in everybody's.
And it's just a common?
Yeah, it's like $1 common. Like, everybody search out your loyalties. I'm doing the meta call now. Everybody wants it.
Damn.
Like, it's super good. So yeah.
What was your hardest matchup?
Khalil and playing against Mind'em with their Chaos decks.
You would say Khalil, wouldn't you?
I mean, because I lost to him twice, unfortunately. But shout out to my boy.
How many times?
Twice. Thank you.
And then you lost to Jonathan?
Yes, I did. That was on. We could have went into the. Yeah, I didn't call my vulture. That was a bad play.
So here's where I'm going to call this part out. So through this whole thing, you listed all these ways to get rid of chaos. How come that was a problem for you? Was it just like what they drew into, or was it because...
it was just like if they actually were able to survive, it's just like afterwards they were just able to put the pressure back on me. Like, gotcha. Yes, I have shields and stuff like that, but they have so much resourcing ability that it's kind of like if I don't win now, I may not have anything later. So, and that's what was the main thing. Like, it does really good against chaos. Like, it did help me win the games against them.
Well, you obviously have the good matchup with it because you have to have, like, so much against what is the meta, which is obviously, Thunder Empire, Fang, and Chaos. I've been out of this game way too damn long.
Empire,
I don't know shit.
What else was it? No, Ball Soleil and Fifth Omni. Dragon World was just amazing out there.
How was your matchup against that since he came in first?
I did not play against Fifth Omni.
You didn't touch it at all?
No, I did not.
Did you test play it against it?
I have not, actually.
Uh-oh.
None of us have Hidami. So.
Whoa.
But it would have been a fun match, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, everybody dealing damage to themselves.
Right, everybody just doing damage to each other. Yeah, Hawkman, I'm coming for you, man. We got to play sometime.
You heard the call out.
I did. So yeah, the Chaos matchup, I mean, that was just like the harder matchup for some reason. Like, Boss Away, as much as I tested against Mark, I think it just kind of helped me. At first, I was scared to even play this deck because Mark destroyed me at first. Like, he was like just knocking me out. I was like, I can't play this deck in the tournament. But I think it just playing him so much, I think I just finally figured out, like, okay, I can actually do this. So
Good.
you just have to.
I'm glad to see you finally went with the Danger World deck.
I know, right? It's been a while since I talked with Danger World. So
After all we keep telling you, you know, you have to play Danger World.
I do.
Regardless.
They call me king now, right? So,
No, nobody.
no,
Still
no.
no.
They do.
Nobody calls you king yet, bro.
It's
You
coming.
You have to get a winner spot to get a king.
Damn. All right, well.
I'll even get you.
I'll
Get you a Burger King crown for it. I'll crown you as soon as they give you the medal.
But yeah, that's it on the deck profile. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the tournament. Glad I got to see a lot of my friends from all over. I don't even know what else to say. I mean,
That's it. Just hit the outro, bro.
Yeah. It's team place for days. Wow.
Who hits us up? Tell us. Where's the sponsor?
Wait, what am I? Yeah, you're right. What was I thinking? It is team place for days. No, wait, where's that? Red Cat.
Oh.
Okay.
Yep.
Get him with it.
We got
So check
CJ.
them out for your singles and everything.
We got the Captain. Hope he's on the camera. We coming
Show
at you.
your face.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm upside down.
Oh my.
Later, guys.